Both Strange and Gojo are two of the most well-known sorcerers from their respective forms of media, as they are both known for their insane power and being one of the strongest beings in their respective worlds. With Strange being able to manipulate time and Gojo being able to manipulate space, it's no surprise as to why they're so strong. So who would win? Well, I'm going to be using Doctor Strange from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, since Strange from the comics could sneeze in the wrong direction, accidentally solo most animes out there, much less Jujutsu Kaisen, so this video will cover that and also an equal stats scenario where the attack speed and durability of the two are made equal, so we can see who is the better pound for pound fighter. The only thing to note here is that I will cover both scenarios where Strange does and doesn't have the time stone, so that you won't have to ask about either scenario. Also, off topic, I did hold a thumbnail competition on the Discord server, which you can check in the description below, where basically viewers could submit their own created thumbnails and the winner would be decided by vote. And the winner of this was Willie, and so he gets to get his thumbnail displayed in the video right here. So, well done to Willie. Everyone gets to see your thumbnail now. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment below what your opinions are of this. I will also link in the description a document to all the calcs in this video, if I remember to. But yeah, let's get on with Strange versus Gojo. When it comes to physical stats for Doctor Strange, there are two ways you can go about this. As I brought up in my Saitama versus the MCU video, there's both two different ways you can scale them. You can either scale to where he realistically should be, or bring up the fact that Captain America took punches from Thanos. Either way, I'll bring up both forms of scaling. Doctor Strange's punching power and durability should bare minimum be multi-sided block level. This is due to him being able to take a pumpkin bomb head on, which hurt Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, who could scale to Tom Holland Spider-Man due to both of them fighting Green Goblin. Now, this should scale to, if not somewhat higher than Captain America, who is capable of hurting Loki, who withstood the Bifrost explosion on the bridge, which was so big it could equal almost 120 tons of TNT. If you think that Strange scales much higher than this physically, then he'd actually be relative to his own magic to some extent. Regardless, the magic is potent enough to restrain Thanos. Thanos scales above awakened Thor, who could take being tortured by the Power Stone, which has the power to destroy planets, and also has a feat of destroying a large planet's surface, which is calculated out to 23.1 kilotons of TNT, or large planet level. He also has further scaling on this level, or even higher, being able to scale to Thor, who can create craters 100 times bigger than the Grand Canyon, which is calculated out to 116 kilotons of TNT, and scaling higher than the Statesman, which could pass through a collapsing neutron star, which requires durability to be upwards of 90.82 kilotons of TNT, two other large planet level feats. You can even scale him up to star level, due to once again scaling to Thor, who could take punches from Hela. This is the same Hela who could crush Mjolnir, which withstood a star exploding in its creation. Thor also withstood the full force of a star, which was installed with a Dyson Sphere, a megastructure built to harvest and output the full energy potential of a star, with calcs ranging between 23.9 ninatons of TNT to 2.4 Fo, depending on how much you want to highball them. There's also the fact he was able to negate a small black hole as well, which, to be fair, is literally stated to be a black hole, but there is some questions to be had with the feature to bring up the fact that, you can question if it behaves like an actual black hole and thus can't really be as powerful as one. But it's notable to bring up, however, due to something I'll talk about later on. There's also the fact that Doctor Strange's magic is powerful enough to cause unrest to the multiverse whenever it goes wrong, causing them to bleed together, which is a bit of a useless point to bring up, but I'll get to that later. Speed-wise, and Strange should range between being multiple times faster than light to hundreds of times faster than light. This is due to him upscaling from Iron Man's repulsor blasts, which are literally stated to be light beams, scaling to the Ancient One, who perceives lightning in slow motion, calculated to 2.3 times faster than light, and he can reach hundreds of times faster than light due to scaling to Captain Marvel's photon blasts, which many characters react to. These are the same photon blasts which could hit a hilltop which was hundreds of meters away in just a nanosecond, which is calculated to over 333 times faster than light. Gojo, on the other hand, is a little bit more vague for power scaling. The bare minimum baseline for Gojo is large mountain level to island level. This is due to him being able to easily stop Jogo, who is capable of creating a large mountain of iron, which is calculated out to 2.67 gigatons of TNT. He would also scale higher than Yuji using the Black Flash, which amplifies his power by either 2.5 times or to the power of 2.5 times, further increasing his AP to 6.68 gigatons of TNT to 11.65 gigatons of TNT. Now, you could argue that Gojo is higher than this, but none really come close to Doctor Strange's level of power, bar one feat, where he upscales some characters who can create black holes, which is calculated to 130.8 yotatons of TNT, or large planet level. Well, yes, this would scale him higher than low-end Strange. Strange has scaling which can get him far higher than this. Not to mention that Strange also has his own black hole feat as well, and logically should be accepted if black holes for Gojo is also to be accepted too. Even if Gojo could somehow scale to solar system level due to the black hole, Strange would scale even higher than that with this logic due to him being able to completely neg a black hole, while Gojo just scales to someone who can create one. Speed-wise, and similarly, Gojo isn't really on Strange's level. Firstly, he should upscale from Hakari, who reacts to point-blank lightning, requiring him to over 3.6 million times miles per hour. Well, this may seem impressive. This is still over 183 times slower than the speed of light, which, much less the calcs that Strange actually scales to. The only way you can really get Gojo higher than this is through two different ways. Firstly, Hollow Purple. Some people argue that since Hollow Purple is massless, it should be able to move at the speed of light, since things that are massless can often move at the speed of light. Even if we do use this interpretation and say Gojo scales to it, this would only be relativistic to the speed of light, meanwhile Strange can range between being multiple times to hundreds of times faster. The other way is to say that Gojo scales to inaccessible to immeasurable speed due to being able to move around in the prison realm, which is a realm where time doesn't allow itself to flow through. Once again, there are some things to bring into question here due to Gojo's ability to manipulate space-time, which you could argue is how he's able to move around that way. Plus, even if you do use the scaling for Gojo, Strange also has this scaling too, being able to fight Dormammu in the Dark Dimension, which is a realm outside of time. So, even in the best case scenario, Gojo is just going to be comparable to Strange in terms of speed. But what about hacks? Well, Strange and Gojo both have a bucket load of abilities. Gojo infamously having some abilities which can negate the fact that Strange scales above him in overall AP. Gojo's most infamous ability is his Limitless technique, also known as Infinity. This creates basically an infinite distance between him and his opponent, making it practically impossible to hit him with physical blows, and so he'd have to cross a literal infinite distance in order to hit him. He's also known for other abilities such as Red, Blue, and Hollow Purple. Blue involves the concepts of negative numbers and negative distance in order to force space itself to compensate and fill in an area where the technique is used. Due to its negative and reverse style power, it can even revert serious wounds if Gojo is to take any. Red also represents convergence and divergence brought into reality, firing off giant shockwaves which blows everything away. When it's combined together, it creates Hollow Purple, which creates an imaginary mass which rushes forward and erases everything in its path from existence. These attacks even work on an atomic level to boot. His last main ability is his domain expansion, known as Unlimited Void. Domain expansions are capable of neutralizing all techniques, but have special abilities per person. Gojo's domain expansion paralyzes the target in place and hits them with an attack that contains infinite knowledge, sounds, and information, basically overloading the opponent's brain with never-ending knowledge, causing them to die after a while. Even exposure for 0.2 seconds requires 2 months of rehabilitation for any normal person to come back from it. There's then also the fact that he has individual abilities such as being able to fly, his accelerated development, can turn himself invisible, can redirect forces to reflect attacks back onto people, he is skilled in hand-to-hand combat, has telekinesis, can react on instinct, and can put people to sleep by touching them. Gojo also has resistance to power nullification due to being able to use his curse techniques within another domain expansion. Doctor Strange also has some pretty overpowered hacks abilities. For one, the Time Stone, that if he has it, can manipulate concepts within the universe. It can also manipulate aspects of time, being able to stop, rewind, slow down, and speed up time indefinitely. He also has acausality and immortality with the Time Stone along with preparation, being able to constantly come back to life via time loop, providing he has time to, make it. He can also travel through time, being physically or mentally, and can see into infinite possibilities. It also makes him immune to Death's ability, which can decay and manipulate reality, space, and time. Without the Time Stone, Strange also has a massive amount of abilities and is a force to be reckoned with, having genius intellect, supernatural willpower, being skilled in martial arts and a photographic memory, and having access to magic. With magic, he can conjure many types of weapons, energy blasts, platforms, and barriers. He can also harm and kill souls while in his astral form. He can even knock someone's soul out of their body upon striking them. He can fly with the Cloak of Levitation, can sense threats from outside of Earth, even be able to sense characters such as Tao Lo, despite the fact that they exist in a different pocket dimension outside of the universe. He can also create additional arms, eyes, and can duplicate himself, along with being able to use telekinesis and can teleport himself and others at will. He can transmutate and manipulate matter. He can manipulate threads. He has heat manipulation and can even manipulate his own soul, being able to pull back into his own body after it was knocked out. He also has access to elemental manipulation, such as air, water, earth, fire, and light manipulation. He can also summon giant beasts to him, he can create things at will, he can also reflect attacks via the use of the mirror dimension, more on that later. He has purification, power nullification, deconstruction, cloth manipulation, sound manipulation, and can even erase memories with sufficient prep time. He can also absorb powers from people, negate invisibility, and can make people hit themselves. He also possesses the Sling Ring, which allows him to create portals which can even travel across dimensions, being able to send Loki through a portal which kept him falling through dimensions for half an hour. He also has the ability to send others to the mirror dimension, which is a massive ability that Gojo has in his arsenal, since he can manipulate the space and reality of said dimension. He also has resistances to mind manipulation, absorption, and power absorption with preparation. He also has resistance to soul manipulation and possession. It should be noted that he has resistance to time manipulation when he has a time stone as well. So, who wins? Both counter many of each other's abilities pretty well, such as Gojo being able to possibly resist Strange's ability to negate powers, and Limitless rules out the possibility of Strange knocking out Gojo's soul or even really physically landing a hit on him. And Strange can also negate Gojo turning invisible. There's then, of course, the question of if Strange could bypass Gojo's ability. Otherwise, it would only be a matter of time before Gojo wins. There are a couple of ways, though, you could argue Strange actually is able to bypass it. Firstly, transmutation and matter manipulation. As it's not a physical attack, it's simply something that just happens, Strange's ability could just negate having to bypass infinity. Strange's ability to absorb powers might work, but it may not really be able to work with him being unable to touch Gojo, so it is unlikely. He could erase Gojo's memory if he has prep time, but as I said, prep time is required. There's also the fact that Gojo states, I'm going off script here, he states that he refreshes his brain every second. This statement is very vague, so it's kind of hard to tell what he really means by this, if this makes him immune to mind attacks and memory attacks, but it's something to bring up. There's then also the fact that Strange could kill Gojo if he purposefully messes up his most powerful spells, which causes the multiverse to fall on itself. But not only is this extremely out of character for him to do, but it would also kill him, so it's not really a viable win con. There's then also his body puppetry, which can cause people to hit themselves over and over again. The only question is, though, what would happen if Gojo tried to punch himself? I mean, he can interact with himself, but he's never really tried to harm himself, so it's pretty weird. But as a way you could argue Strange wins. Strange could also send Gojo to the mirror dimension and just leave him there. Yeah. And while Gojo can manipulate the things around him outside of his own imprisoned realm, he is still stuck in said realm with no way out without outside help. The mirror dimension is also able to manipulate and possibly negate Limitless as well, since Limitless is a spatial ability and Strange can warp space and reality within the dimension. It is also added on to the fact that Strange's superior attack potency and speed means he can very easily kill Gojo if he's able to bypass infinity and just land one single hit on him. He could very easily dodge Gojo's attacks via just being so much faster than him and also having the Sling Ring and teleportation. He could very easily overwhelm Gojo by summoning many other beasts or duplicating himself. While yes, it doesn't inherently surpass Limitless, it gives Gojo more things to deal with and gives Strange, time to prepare things. While yes, Gojo could put Strange to sleep if he touches him, or kill him if his domain expansion is able to take effect, Strange is just far faster and can pull off his win conditions much faster. While Strange is a bit cocky, he's also much more intelligent than Gojo, which is another point in his favour. With the Time Stone, he is even more in Strange's favour, as he could rewind time or just age up Gojo with it. Gojo may be able to resist time stop, however, being able to move around in a place where time doesn't exist, possibly due to his space-time manipulation, but Strange can also just see into the future and instantly find out every way he could beat Gojo, and then just do that. With equal stats, it becomes much more interesting and harder to call, as both of the fact that, Strange has arguments for bypassing infinity, and Gojo being able to kill Strange are both able to technically be accessed at the same time. Really, it comes down to who could do it first. Either Strange sends Gojo to the mirror dimension, or Gojo activates his unlimited void. This is a bit complicated, as Unlimited Void is kind of an insta-win for Gojo, meanwhile Strange would still have to physically do things to kill Gojo within the mirror dimension. Not to mention, with the stats being equal, all it does is it makes, Strange and Gojo as fast as each other, so Strange can't really blitz in one shot like before. Still, it can't help him due to, being able to use his full magic on Gojo, or being able to just knock out Soul. You could argue that Gojo would also be able to activate his domain expansion within the mirror dimension. The main thing that would support Strange's victory again is via summoning, duplication, and body puppetry to disorient and distract Gojo in order to pull off his win cons. With the Time Stone, it's further possible, as Gojo is even more distracted, as he's able then to look into the future to see what he has to do to win, or just time travel to the beginning of the fight with the knowledge he has. Or just like Dormammu, he can create an infinite time loop, and will only break it once he finds a way to beat Gojo. Not to mention that Eye of Agamotto could negate Limitless, maybe, due to being able to resist the user being able to take Spirit Egg spatial attacks, but it is unclear if he's able to just negate other people's spatial manipulation on themselves, rather than just being an attack on them directly, if that makes sense, so it's pretty up in the air. Personally, I think Gojo does beat Strange with equal stats with no Time Stone, but with the Time Stone, I think there's simply too many things in Strange's favour that he can use to counter and beat Gojo, so I'd say he beats Gojo in that regard. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, make sure to like, subscribe. I know I've been on a bit of a break recently, but hopefully videos will be back as normal, and I'll see you all next time.